I'm going to show you today how I do my shiitake mushroom logs. So if you'll see right here, we have a mushroom inoculation tool. You don't have to have one of these, but it makes it a lot better. I put my spawn inside this coffee can and made a little roller stand here to roll the logs. Got a deep fat fryer. It's got just some canning wax inside of it, getting hot. I'm just going to run through real quick how I do these. To drill the holes, I've got a drill bit that fits onto an angle grinder, and this makes the job a lot easier. This is one of the things you really need to do this kind of work. If you use just a regular drill, it'd take forever to drill all the holes that you need. This thing, you order these off of a mushroom spawn supplier like Field and Forest. You can buy all the spawn and the tools. With these inoculation tools, you don't really have to have this. You can put the sawdust in the holes by hand, but it takes a long time. But it saves some money if you're getting started and you're not planning on doing a whole lot of these. If you do the big bag of spawn, it makes quite a bit of logs. And I usually get the logs about the length of a chainsaw, so I can measure them out and cut them when I cut my wood. When you cut your trees, they have to be a live tree. It can't be a dead tree. To cut down a live tree, usually a sapling size or a little bigger than a sapling, and cut them into manageable lengths. I usually just measure it out by the length of the chainsaw and add a little bit to it, and that's usually how long. You drill your holes a few inches apart, and you diamond pattern them, and then you fill them with the spawn, and then you top each hole after you fill it with the spawn with some wax, and that's to keep any other types of mushroom spawn or anything like that getting into where you've got your spawn. It kind of protects it, lets them take over. Basically what they do is the mushroom spawn will use this wood as a place to eat, something to eat. I'm going to go through how I get it done. And that's all there is to one log. You can, one thing I want to show is this bench that I've made to hold the logs. I've just taken an old piece of laminate flooring board and a couple of pieces of wood and some caster wheels and made a little holder for the logs, so it'll roll. You can roll the logs on it, and most of this stuff you can just get around your house, like the deep fat fryer. You probably got one at your house you don't use much. They're not that expensive if you order one online, like a small one. And when you're done inoculating the logs, you could expect anywhere from 6 to 10 months before they're ready to start fruiting. And then the fruiting process is a totally different story. You can look into that and figure out how to do all that. You can soak them. Most of them you can force fruit them by soaking them in water, and then some strains, they don't do well for force fruiting. So when you order your mushrooms, you can kind of read up on which ones are the best for commercial growers, or ones that doesn't do well with force fruiting and just fruit naturally. So here's a look at the batch of logs that I've got for this year. I went to Field and Forest and bought my spawn, and I bought the large bag, which is a 5.5 pound bag. So you can kind of see about how many logs you can get. Some of these are bigger than others. Some of them are real small. They don't take as many. The bigger ones take quite a bit more. But I've still got enough spawn left to do several more logs. But this is what I had cut, and this is what I had ready. So this is going to be my batch for the year. When you're cutting the wood, you want to make sure that it's live trees, and you want to cut it 2 weeks before you prepare the logs with the mushrooms. They need to let it sit for a couple of weeks. That's what they suggest, and before you put the sawdust spawn in the logs. They also make products like I think they're called thimbles. They're little caps that you just put in the holes, and also some plug spawn, which is just little wood plugs that you just hammer in. Those might be a little easier, but either way, it's a good project to do. You can buy the smaller bags. They're a little bit cheaper. The shipping on the spawn's quite a bit expensive, so if you go in with a couple of friends, you could probably I'll go out and cut some wood and make like a production line and get quite a few logs, split them. But I know that I've taken mine to the farmer's market and sold out. People seem to really look at them and be amazed at them. Usually they don't see them in the grocery stores unless you live in a pretty big city or specialty stores. So and they're pretty good to eat too. Thanks for watching.